Hello there and welcome to this video. We are going to talk surface area of prisms, okay? And remember that the main definition for a prism is that it has rectangular sides, and that's kind of how you differentiate it between other types of objects, okay? So let's go ahead and first jog your memory on calculating area. So here is a prior knowledge question. It just says find the area of the triangle in square inches. And round to the nearest square inch. So what we're going to do in order to calculate area of a triangle is remember that it is 1/2 length times width, right? Or base times height. You'll see all these formulas, base times height. Pretty much, right, you're calculating the area of a square. Okay, so if I was to calculate this whole area of this square, okay, and then I'm going to go ahead, or a rectangle, sorry, and then we're going to cut it in half, right? And that'll give you the area of a triangle. Okay, so what I need, though, is I need my base and my height, or I need my length and my width. Okay, so area is equal to 1/2 times length. Okay, so here we have a bottom value, which we'll call our length. That is 21 inches. Okay, but what we don't have is our width or our height or whatever you want to call it, right? I don't have this value here, but what I do have is I have the diagonal, right? Which, since this is a right triangle, this is the hypotenuse. Okay, so how can I use this? Well, I do know that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, right? This is what is known as the Pythagorean Theorem. And if I go ahead and I'll just call this side A, right? The height and the width. So a squared plus 21 squared is going to be equal to the hypotenuse squared, 24 squared. Okay, so I'll go ahead and calculate these. So we get 21 squared, which is 441. Is equal to 24 squared, okay, which is 576. And if we subtract 441 on each side, we get a squared is equal to 135. Okay, and we can take the square root of that, which is approximately 11.619. Okay, so 11.619. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that in here. So 11.619 inches. Okay, and we multiply, and we should get approximately 121, and they want us to round to the nearest square inch. So that's going to be 122 square inches. All right, and some people really get tripped up in this step here. If you just want to go ahead and multiply those first two numbers, right, 21 times 11.619, and then divide by 2, that will also give you your answer there, okay? All right, so again, here is a prism. All the sides are rectangles, okay, and again, they're named based upon their base. So I have a rectangular prism because this one has a rectangular bottom. Here I have a cube, all the sides are the same. And then I have a triangular prism, the base is a triangle, and then here a pentagonal prism, right? The base is a pentagon. And I want you to look at this case for a moment. Notice how when I said that the base is a pentagon, the pentagons aren't on the top and the bottom, okay? And that's because I can go ahead and I can move and rotate an object, right? But all the sides, all the lateral areas are rectangles, okay? And then there's two symmetrical kind of endpoints at the bottoms, right, which are pentagons, okay? So that's going to come into play later on. All right, so what we want to do is we want to calculate the surface area of prisms. And remember, surface area is the total area of all the faces and curved surfaces of a three-dimensional figure. So there's two ways you can do this. You can use a formula, which is what I recommend, and we're going to show you kind of how those are calculated. Or if you're not good with using formulas, you can use a net if you know how to kind of draw each little piece out and calculate, two-dimensional areas instead. So the surface area of a prism can be described as the sum of the lateral area, okay, and that's the area of the rectangular sides, and the area of two congruent bases. So we get this formula. Area is equal to L plus 2B. Okay, now how do I calculate the lateral area? Well, the lateral area ends up being the perimeter of the base, okay, times the height, which is the prism's height. And I want you to put in parentheses here, the prism's height is always the distance between the bases. Okay, so whatever we determine to be our base object, kind of like what the object is named after, that's your base, and then the distance between that, that's always, always, always your height. All right, so let's go ahead, and now that we have this formula, S is equal to PH plus 2B, let's go ahead and look at an example. Okay, so they say find the surface area of the prism. All right, well, first, what I like to do is I like to know, okay, like what object are we working with here? And this is a triangular prism, right? And that's because the base is what? It's a triangle. So just mentally making notes, that will help us when we're calculating our surface area. So this is a triangular prism, okay? If I want to go ahead and calculate the surface area is equal to P, okay, times H plus 2B. Right, so what we need to do is we need to go ahead and identify, okay, what are these particular values? So P. Remember that P is the perimeter of the base, okay? And perimeter is just outside. P is perimeter of the base. So here is my base object, right? 10 inches plus 24 inches, okay? Plus, well, I don't have this side. I don't have that hypotenuse, right? But I can do is I can go ahead and say, okay, I know that this is 10 squared plus 24 squared is equal to x squared. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and punch that into my calculator. And this gives us 676 is equal to x squared, which means that that side length is 26. Okay, so I know that this is 26, which gives us 60 inches total. Okay, so there is our perimeter, 60 inches. All right, next, what I need is I need the height. I need to know, okay, what's the distance between the two bases? Okay, so here is one base, right? And then the other base is down here. So what's the distance between those two objects? Well, that would be 20 inches. 20 inches. Okay, that was relatively easy. And then now what I need is I need to know, okay, what is the area of the base? Okay, so I'm gonna do this here. So B is the area. And I always find that confusing. We use the variable B, capital B, but it's area of the base. All right, so I know that the area of this base, it's a triangle, is 1/2 times length times height. Okay, and that's always formed with your right angle. So if I'm calculating the area of the base, it's length times width, or base times height. So that's going to be 24 times 10. Okay, so this is going to be what's that? 240 cut in half would be 120 square inches. Okay, so plus 2 times 120 square inches. Okay, so this is going to be 1200 square inches plus 240 square inches, which gives us 1440 square inches. Okay, and that is the surface area of this prism. All right, so there you go. That is a triangular prism. The next one that I want to go ahead and do, it says, again, find the surface area of the prism. And looking at this one, this is also a triangular prism. Okay, but this one's slightly different. Notice that, again, our base, which is a triangle, isn't directly on the bottom, which tends to throw a lot of people off. They're like, hey, I know that the base should be on the bottom. That's why it's called the base. Well, again, with these objects, you can rotate them. So here, again, this is a prism because the sides are rectangular, right? But again, our base, right? Our base is going to be the triangle. So why is that important? Well, I know that surface area, right, is the perimeter times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. Okay, so what we need is we need the perimeter of the base. So perimeter of the base is going to be 3.6 inches. Okay, plus this distance here. I don't seem to have that, so I'll call that x, plus this distance here, which based upon this information back here is 6 inches. Okay, plus x plus 6. So we need to go ahead and we need to calculate the x. Okay, so let's go ahead and use Pythagorean Theorem, and I'll do this over here. So 3.6 squared plus x squared is equal to 6 squared, giving us x squared is equal to 36 minus, and let's see what 3.6 is squared. So 12.96. Okay, so this is 23.04. So x is going to be approximately 4.8. Actually, not even approximate. It is. Okay, so I'll get rid of this x. This is 4.8. Okay, so we can go ahead and add those up. This gives me 10 plus another 4, 14.4 inches. Okay, so 14.4 inches. All right, next, what is the height? What is the distance between the bases? And that's going to be this length here. Okay, so that's 8.5 inches. All right, plus 2 times the area of the base. So the area of the base is going to be 1/2 times length, which we'll say is 4.8, times height, which height of the base, right? So length times width of the base. So 3.6 right here, length times width. Okay, how do I know it's length and width? Specifically, well, the length and the width forms the right triangle. Okay, so those are our values, and let's go ahead and calculate this. Okay, we get 8.64 square inches. Okay, so 8.64 square inches. Okay, so we'll plug all of this into our calculator. Okay, and we get 131.04 square inches. It's actually, sorry, I forgot to multiply the base by 2. This is 139.68 square inches. Okay, and pay attention to, sometimes the problems will say round to the nearest whole number, round to the nearest tenth, and you'll want to abide by that. This is 100% accurate, so here is your answers. All right, that'll do it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and post another video on rectangular prisms. This was triangular prisms, but the ideas are very much similar, okay? So catch you next time. Peace out.